Raft, a title you may or may not have heard of. The simple survival exploration game about surviving on a raft and exploring what's left of the world. The game was different from the survival games that were on the market at the time, taking place in a vast ocean instead of a forest or anywhere on land like your typical survival game. The gameplay, the environmental storytelling, and the art style were all aspects that made this game incredibly unique. You start the game on a small raft that is only about 4 squares big. The game doesn't bother with a tutorial as you're pretty much thrown right in. There is a shark constantly around your raft and there are different resources floating around you. Your objective in the beginning is quite simple. Gather as many materials as you can with the hook that's provided and explore items you can craft while expanding your raft. On occasion, you will find barrels and crates that include heaps of resources like food, extra planks, or plastic. You will also notice islands pass you by on occasion. You have a health, hunger, and thirst bar, and as you progress and discover more materials, you discover more items that you can craft. The more advanced items you acquire, the bigger the islands start to become. You fight more difficult enemies and continue expanding your raft, trying to keep that shark from breaking up your raft every once in a while. Eventually, you are able to make a transmitter that gives you a code showing you the true scale of the game. You sail from island to island in an effort to discover bits and pieces of the story to figure out what really happened. Each island contains notes and pieces of evidence telling a story about what happened at each and every location. Over time, you discover that almost the entire world has essentially become one big ocean. Each island was used as a shelter for a group of people that eventually ended up falling apart, some due to lack of resources, others due to internal conflicts with the residents. Raft explores a future shaped not by a single apocalypse but 1,000 small decisions. It's not just about survival, it's about what's left behind when the system breaks down. With such an amazing concept and unique gameplay, the game was destined to be a massive success. One of the greatest contributing factors was the music. The music was soft but somber. It perfectly captures the feeling of hope but also loneliness. Raft was released in early access in May of 2018 and was pretty much an instant success. On the month of launch, they had thousands of players who were already trying the game out. With the game already being a success, Red Beat, the company making the game, would work on it for the next 4 years before coming out of early access. They took their time bringing out updates and didn't rush development. From the looks of it, they wanted to ensure the game was truly ready for a full release instead of pushing it out sooner just because of popularity, a decision that, in my opinion, paid off greatly. In June of 2022, the game would have its full release. The game multiplied in its initial player count by 10, peaking at just over 100,000 players. These kinds of numbers were insane for a game that was initially kinda small like Raft. Raft was the number 3 most played Steam game only 2 weeks after release. Unfortunately, after the full release of the game, Red Beat would go quiet with development. After releasing the final chapter update and bringing Raft out of early access, all of the updates that followed were simply bug fixes. Now don't get me wrong, getting the bug fixes is great. Oftentimes you have games getting their full release and not even getting so much as a hotfix until months after. So this was a great way to show players that the team was actively trying to make the experience smoother even after a full release. For the next couple of weeks after the game came out, they released a total of 7 updates consisting of bug fixes and minor changes. The last fix came in early July of 2022, and then the next months would see nothing until November. In November of 2022, they released some plushies and announced that they were actively working on a release for consoles, but that it would take some time. After that, nothing. There was a single patch to increase game security, then they would not release another update until December of 2024, over 2 years later. It was then that Red Beat announced Raft officially being available on consoles as well as crossplay being available. Took them roughly 2.5 years, but console releases can be difficult, so this was understandable. Sadly, only 2 updates would follow after this release. We are over halfway through 2025 at the time of this video release, and there has not been an update including any new content since June of 2022 when the game came out of early access. At this point, players are accusing the team of releasing those small updates that'll break player-made mods for the game just to prove that they're actively working on the game. The community that once loved and praised the game are now turning against it because of the lack of content over the years. Most people are perfectly okay with more content in the form of a paid DLC. They just want something new since it's been so long since we've gotten a content update. Thanks, but can't you wait and release 2 to 3 big updates a year instead of breaking mods every month? The stuff you fixed or changed is so minor nobody cares. At this point, you guys do these small updates just to prove to us that you're still working on the game. We need more content. It's a fun game, but there is too little content. This game needs DLC, too good of a game to stop adding content. I played and had an amazing time with this game only months after it was pushed into early access. Playing the entire game when it was fully released was an even better experience. I wish the developers didn't essentially abandon it. It continues to be incredibly successful with its player count, but no new update anywhere to be found or even mentioned. I hope that we can get more content and chapters in the near future because the game has a lot of potential that hasn't been explored yet. The gameplay isn't particularly complicated, but it has the perfect level of casual that keeps you intrigued and entertained for hours. There has to be at least 10 hours of story content, and that's just on the islands. That's not including the time it takes you to sail from one island to the other. And the best part is, you can do it by yourself or with friends. The game has multiplayer and you can have multiple people playing on the same raft as you. It even introduces a new level of challenge as your resources become more scarce with the more people that you have. Plenty of people compare this situation to the situation of Scrap Mechanic. Although it was not made by Red Beat, it shares the same publisher, Axolot Games. Scrap Mechanic struggles to receive content updates, but it did have a major content update in December of 2024. Players like myself hold on to hope that Raft 2 is in development or that some kind of big update is in the works somewhere that they're not telling us about. I joined the Discord to see if there were any game updates that maybe weren't getting announced on Steam, as that's usually where I get most of my information from. From the looks of it, the development team releases really small updates in the form of a beta release, but this doesn't include any new content. It's all still bug fixes. Despite the issues with development and the lack of communication from the dev team, I do highly encourage you to play this game for yourself and experience everything it has to offer. It truly is a rewarding experience, and it'll leave you hoping for more. But what do you think? Have you played Raft before? Are you hoping there will be some new content at some point this year? If you enjoyed this video, then please do consider liking and subscribing, as it means the world to me. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.